Hello students, now today I am going to discuss the topic loops in C programming. This is also a very important topic for programming for problem solving. So in today's topic we are going to discuss what are loops, why we need loop, different types, some examples and break and continue statements. So let us start with the loops. So what is the use of loop? Loops are used when we want to execute a part of program or block of statements several times. Means if there is a condition when we want to execute certain steps number of times, in that particular situations, loops are helpful to us which execute certain steps again and again until a test condition goes fail. So it can execute a part of the program repeatedly until some condition is provided which is true. If condition fails, the loop will stop. So here we have the test condition, and within the test condition we are checking if this condition remains true, the statement will execute again and again. If this test condition fails, the statement will not execute further. Now we have two types of loops based upon the control statements. First we have entry control loop and second we have exit control loop. Entry control loop is the loop where we are checking the condition at the time of entering. For example, we have while loop and for loop. These are also known as pre-test loop because without testing the condition, we cannot enter the loop body. First of all, the condition must be true, then only we can execute certain steps. If condition fails, in that particular case, the loop of body will not execute. Second, we have exit control loop. In exit control loop, the loop of the body is executed at least once. After execution of the loop body, condition is checked. Example is do while loop. It is also known as post test loop. Next, based upon the nature of control variable which is being provided within the condition statement, we have counter control loop and sentinel control loop. Counter control loop means we can easily count how many times a loop is going to be executed. For example, I provide a number, example print natural numbers from 1 to 100. In this particular case, I want to write the loop that will execute 100 times and each and every time it is going to print numbers starting from 1 till 100. So I can easily count how many times a loop is going to be executed. It is going to be executed 100 times. But what is sentinel control loop? Sentinel control loop is that in which I cannot count how many times a loop is going to be executed. For example, if I say if n is true, now n can be true for many number of situations, many number of values. So there can be of indefinite repetitions. So I cannot calculate what is the value of n. N can be true for n values, n different values, and that is not countable. So when I cannot count how many time loops is going to be executed, that is sentinel control loop. Next, further loops are classified as for loop, while loop and do while loop as discussed in the previous slide. For and while loop are the examples of entry control loop and do while loop is the example of exit control. Next, we have while loop. While loop in C program executes certain steps until a condition is true. So let us see the syntax of while loop. Here we have to initialize the value. Suppose I initialize I is equals to 1. I is a variable which is initialized by 1. Now while condition, here I have to provide the condition. So let us assume condition is I is greater than 10 or less than I is less than 10. So what is the condition of checking? Condition of checking is that I must be less than 10. If this condition is true, statement will get executed. If this condition fails, statement X will be executed. That is the syntax for while. So this is the flowchart. Here I have taken the initialization condition, that is I is 1. Next, at the time of entry, condition is checked whether this condition was I must be less than 10. Condition is true, I is 1, I is less than 10 is true. If this condition is true, body of the loop is executed. And within the body of the loop, this condition must get updated so that after some times or after repetition of statements, the body of loop will be terminated. This is the example for while loop. So let us consider a number I of type integer. I is initialized by 1, that is initialization of loop variable. Now while I is less than equal to 5, this is the condition for looping. What I have to print? I have to print I. And what is the updation for loop variable? It is written I++. So each and every time when while condition is checked, it is checked either I is less than equal to 5 or not. If I is less than equal to 5, this condition is true, I will be printed, and after printing of I is updated by 1. So after execution of this particular loop body 5 times, it will be terminated. So as we can see here, first of all I is 1, which is less than equal to 5, it is true. Next, I is updated by 1 here. What is written? I plus 1. So now value of I is 2. It is also less than 5. 2 is printed. I is updated by 1. Value of I is 3, which is also less than equal to 5. That is true. Means 3 will get printed. Next, I plus 1, that is 4. It is also true. So 4 will be printed. After that 5, it is also equal to 5. Means condition is true. So 5 will get printed. Now I plus 1, I is now 6. When I will become 6, the condition will become false. And as soon as the condition will become false, the body of loop will be terminated. It will not further repeated. Next we have do while loop. What do while loop do? It first execute the loop at least once. After executing the loop body, it calculate the condition. It checks the condition. So while we are using while loop, first of all condition is checked, after that body of the loop is executed. But when we are using do while loop, in that case body of the loop will be executed first, after that condition is checked. So this is the flow chart. First of all initialization is done. After initialization, entry within the loop body is there, and after that execution of the loop body, control condition is checked. Now if control condition is true, again body of the loop will execute, but if condition becomes false, it will come out of the loop. Now statement X will be executed. This is the same example. Here we are printing 10 natural numbers using do while loop. So what I have written int I, that is I variable is taken of type integer. I is initialized by 1. This is the initialization process. Next do keyword is used. Here I have written printf %di, means this particular statement will print the value of I. After that I++. So when I is equal to 1, it will enter to the body of the loop and print I. I is what? I is 1. So it will print 1. After that it will increase the value of I by 1. Now value of I is 2. Now condition is checked. While I is less than equal to 10. Yes, condition is true because I is 2 now. It is less than equal to 10. Again body of the loop will execute. Now what is it is going to print? It will print I. I is what? I is 2. After that I++, I will become 3. After increasing the value or updating the value of I, while condition is checked, I is less than equal to 10. Yes, condition is true. It will again go to the loop body. So how many times it will continue? It will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. When it will print 10, after that I plus plus, that is 11. Now condition is checked. I is what? 11. 11 is less than equal to 10. Condition is false now. So if condition will become false, it will not repeat the body of the loop. It will come out of the loop body. Next we have for loop. So a for loop is repeating these steps certain number of times, but the syntax for this is initialization, then condition, then updation. When we are using while loop or do while loop, these three conditions are written separately. Means first of all, before writing the body of the loop, we are initializing a variable. Within the body, within the while statement, we are writing the condition, and within the body of the loop, we are writing the updation. But in case of for loop, all three things are mentioned in one statement only. So here it is written initialization, then condition and updation, and each and every condition is terminated by a semicolon. Next, within the for loop, we have, within the curly braces, we have body of the loop. If certain condition is true, condition is written here. If this condition is true, till that body of the loop will execute. And what is the updation? Updation is written here. Let us see it with the flow chart. So first of all, we have the initialization. Next, condition is checked. If condition is true, see, entry in the body of the loop. Otherwise, if condition is false, statement X will get executed. Now there are some facts about the for loop. First is initialization and increment can be comma separated list. Means it is not compulsory that we can only initialize one variable within the for loop. We can initialize more than one variables within the for loop. For example, it is written int I equal to 0, comma j equal to 0. Means here we have initialized two variables, that is I and j, and both are set to 0. This cannot be done while using while loop. Next, the condition. Condition statement can also be in expression form. And next is the increment, that is updation part. Updation part also we can update multiple variables which are initialized here. Next we have initialization, loop continuation and increment can contain arithmetic expression. That is, if x is equals to 2 and y is equals to 10, if in program I write x equal to 2 and y equal to 10, after that I can write for j is equals to x, j is less than equal to 4 into x into y, j plus plus. So what is the value of x here? X is 2. So whenever we are writing the expression, the for statement like this, then these variables must be initialized before. So instead of directly providing a constant term, we can also write the expressions while we are initializing, incrementing, decrementing or providing conditions within the for statement. Next, there is not a condition that always we write I plus plus or plus plus I. We can also write it in decrement form. So when we are writing plus plus, we are increasing the value, we are updating the value. Just like if initially I is 1, then finally I value will goes on increasing 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. But if I write I minus minus, then a value of I will decrement by 1. That is, if it is 5, then it will go to 4, then 3, then 2 and then 1. So it is not always necessary we always increment the updated condition, we can also decrement it. Now if the loop continuation condition is initially false, in that particular case the for loop will not execute and control directly comes out of the for loop and goes to the next statement which is present in the normal program sequence. So here we have the program to display first 10 natural numbers using for loop. So here what we have written, it is written int I, and simply I have written I equal to 1, I is less than equal to 10, I plus plus. Printf I. So what is printed? If I is 1, initially I is what? I is 1. So if I is 1, printf I will be printed 1. After that again condition is checked after updation. It is written I plus plus, means I is now 2. If I is 2, condition is checked. 2 is less than equal to 10. Yes, it is true. So again print I is what? 2. Next again I is updated by 1. Now I is 3. So what is going to be printed? 3. Again check the condition, it is less than equal to 10. What is going to be printed? 4. Again check, 5. So in the same manner it will print all the numbers till 10. After that when I is updated, this value of I will become 11. Now condition is checked, 11 is less than equal to 10, condition is false. So the body of loop will terminate and we get the output 1 to 10. Next we have nested loops. Nested loops means loop within loop. So it is the loop used inside another loop. For example, if I am using for loop, so first I have written for initialization 1, condition 1 and updation 1. That is the first for loop I have used. Within this first for loop, what it is written? For initialization 2, that is second for loop is used. So within first for loop, I have used second for loop. So when this particular condition is true, the condition which is written in first for loop is true, again I have to check the condition for second for loop. If the condition for second for loop is also true, in that particular case statement block 1 will get executed. Otherwise, if this second for loop condition is false, in that particular case statement block 2 will get executed. So here we can discuss it or understand the concept of nested for loops with the help of pattern program. So let us assume I have to print this pattern 1, then in second row I have to print 2 times 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So I and j, 2 variables are taken. First for loop, it is written I is equals to 1, I is less than equal to 5, I plus plus. And within this I loop, second loop is taken, that is j, that is also initialized by j equal to 1, less than equal to I, j plus plus. It is written printf I and new line character. So how this statement will work? First of all, value of I is what? I is 1. Condition is checked, I must be less than equal to 5, condition is true, it will come inside the loop. It is written for j equal to 1 and j must be less than equal to I is what? 1, means this condition is also true, j is 1. So what it will print? It will print I. And what is the value of I? Value of I is 1. So 1 is going to be printed. Now again for loop is updated. If for loop is updated, j is incremented by 1. It is written j plus plus. Now if j is incremented by 1, value of j is now 2. It must be less than equal to I is still 1. It means j is not satisfying the condition. So j loop will become false. Next statement after j loop is new line character. So what is going to be printed? The control will come to the new line, means control will come here at second row. Again, value of I is going to be incremented by 1, that is 2. Now I is 2. It is less than equal to 5. Condition is true. Now for j equal to 1, condition is true. And j is less than equal to I. J is less than equal to 2. Means condition is true. I is 2 and j is 1. What is to be printed? I is to be printed. What is I? I is 2. 2 is printed. Next, again j is updated by 1. J is now 2. It is less than equal to I. I is what? Still 2. So j is updated by 1. J is equal to 2. What is going to be printed? I. I is what? 2. This 2 is printed. Next, new line character. Now new line character means control will come to third row. Again, I is updated by 1. Now I is 3. For I equal to 3, condition is true. It is less than equal to 5. Now j is equals to 1. Condition is true. 3 is going to be printed. Next, j is incremented by 1. J is 2 now. This 3 will be printed. Next, again j is incremented. Condition is still true. This 3 is printed. Again j is updated, but condition becomes false. As soon as condition becomes false, the control will come to the next state. Next statement is printf new line. New line control means control will come to the next line. In this way, the particular pattern is going to be printed. Next, we have break and continue statements. So, the break and continue statements play a very important role while we are programming. First, we discuss what is break statement. Break statement causes immediate exit from a loop. Whatever loop we are performing, either it is while loop, do while, or switch statement or for loop, any kind of sequence is there, and if I use break statement, it immediately stop the sequence, it will break the sequence and come out of that body. It transfer the control to the first statement after loop. Means if I am using for loop and certain steps are written there and I am using break statement, in that particular case, the control will stop executing the for statement, the body of for loop, and the control will immediately come out of the for statement. Next, program execution continues with the first statement after the loop body. Whatever is the stoppage point of the loop, after that the program will continue executing. What are the common uses of break statement? It escape early from the loop, means when there is a need, we do not want to continue a loop for the number of times a user has provided, we can break at any point of time. Means if certain condition becomes true, at that point we can skip the loop and come out of the loop body. This is the example for using break statement. So here we have a for loop, it is executing for 10 times, but if condition is given here, that is if I becomes 5, in that particular case the control break. So what I have written, for I is equals to 1 to 10, I plus plus, if I is equals to 5, break and print x. Out of the loop, x is equals to percentile d. So what it will print? It will print 1, 2, 3, 4 and broke out of the loop at x equal to 5. Next, we have the continue statement. What continue statement will do? If we have nested loops, so in that particular case, continue statement will come out of the current loop and will start continue execution from the next loop sequence. So it will skip the remaining statement of the body of a while or any other loop and proceed with the next iteration of the loop. It will not completely come out of all the loops. Break statement will come out of all the loops. If we are using nested loop, in that particular case, break statement will come out of all the loops. But while we using continue statement, in that particular case, it will come out of only one loop and it will start resume from the second loop. So here we have the example. If it is written I is equals to 1 and it is less than equal to 10, if I is equals to 5, continue. So what it will do? It will write 1, 2, 3, 4 and for 5, when I is 5, it will stop, it will break out and after that it will again start continuing, but it will start from I equal to 6, not from 5. So as you can see here, 5 is not printed. So this is continue statement. It is coming out of the loop, but it is starting execution again of the body of the loop from the next point where it stopped. So used continue to skip printing the value 5. So I hope the break and continue statements are clear to you all. So we'll see you in the next lecture series. Thank you.